What's the craziest way you've gotten a girl's number? I was crushed and suffocated in a conveyor belt work accident. But hey, game is game. The conveyor was supposed to be down from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. for maintenance. At 10 a.m., bored with nothing to do, I decided to handle a quick 10-minute job on my section. I figured I had plenty of time. Unfortunately, a temp worker, unaware of the safety protocols, started the system while I was lying on the conveyor. Before I could react, I was thrown onto the next belt and pinned between two conveyors, with one slamming into my head. My arm was twisted behind me, leaving me stuck. The only way out? Snap my own arm. With a sickening crack, I tore my shoulder apart and wriggled free, only to get sucked under a 3-inch tension bar. When the bar pinned me, I felt my ribs and back crack like bubble wrap. Every breath I took made the pressure worse. I thought, this is going to be a terrible phone call for mom and dad, before passing out, ready to die. When I came to, my boss and coworkers were standing over me. One coworker slapped my face to wake me up. Dazed, I looked up and mumbled, "Okay, let's get back to work." My boss shook his head and said, "Nah, man, you're pretty messed up." They called an ambulance, and as I was loaded in, I noticed one of the EMTs was stunningly beautiful. Despite being the human equivalent of mashed potatoes, I decided to shoot my shot. A guy's gotta try, right? "Hey," I slurred, attempting a grin, "sorry you have to see me like this. I usually look less smashed up." The EMT, Samantha, gave me a polite smile and said, "Let's focus on keeping you alive, alright?" "Sure, but you know what would help?" I said, struggling to wink. "A date with you once I'm out of this." She arched an eyebrow. "You're barely hanging on, and that's your priority?" "Hey, life's short," I replied, still trying to look cool. "So, dinner?" Samantha shook her head with a soft laugh. "Focus on healing, and maybe ask me again when you're better." "Deal," I said with a thumbs up before the pain meds finally kicked in. It took months to recover from the accident, but as soon as I was back on my feet, I tracked Samantha down. To my surprise, she remembered me and agreed to go on a date. Over dinner, I properly introduced myself, this time without the blood loss and incoherent flirting. Turns out, we had a lot in common, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. She even admitted that my terrible pickup lines in the ambulance were endearing, once she knew I would survive. 4 weeks later, we are officially dating. Samantha still jokes that I was so charismatic, I almost convinced her to date me while I was bleeding out. I may be scarred from the accident, but at least I got her out of it. Every time I see a conveyor belt now, I just laugh and think, who knew getting crushed could lead to love?